Hello, welcome to Dissident Canada. My name is Tyler. I am not feeling so hot today. Don't know how long this is going to last, so videos might be iffy throughout the week. But, anyways, topic of the video today is usually I come up with the title and whatever first. I haven't done that because, not feeling great. I gotta come up with something on the fly. What should I call it? Trump acting foolishly on foreign policy, not understanding his base, not understanding Russia at all, and Russians, and how they operate. Not saying that I do any better than he does, it's just I kind of understand there's a cultural difference between the two of us and that we operate on different wavelengths, basically. What am I talking about? Well, story starts out with Trump has been trying to strong arm the Russians into a ceasefire. Um, I understand where Trump is coming from. He wants the war to stop. He wants the killing to stop, and he wants peace. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. Problem is negotiating under a ceasefire agreement for the Russians is no bueno because, as history has shown in this conflict dating back to the Maidan coup, when you're negotiating against the West in good faith, the West will rearm its proxy, and when the proxy is rearmed, the ceasefire will fall through, negotiations will cease, and they will do an underhanded tactic. Uh, the Ukrainians have already on multiple occasions used humanitarian corridors as attack vectors, which, under multiple different sections of international law, is no bueno. Which, okay, that's not a good thing. And proves you're untrustworthy. So, from the Russian perspectives, negotiating from a ceasefire deal into a peace deal is it's a red line. It's not happening because they've done this before and they know what's going to happen. The West is completely and utterly untrustworthy. So, from at least my perspective sitting here, it appears that Donald Trump is getting bad information. And this is partly due to the fact that Donald Trump picked Susie Wild as his chief of staff, and the chief of staff has recommended people and put people around Trump that are neocons and is in the process of completely pushing out the sane voices that Trump has picked, such as J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and Tulsi Gabbard, who continues to do a great freaking deal and a great job. Same with Vance. He's stuck in a hard place because he can't come out publicly and say WTF, Mr. President. He has to back up his commander in chief in such a way. Same with Tulsi and same with Hegseth. So they're all in tight positions, and I think they should be looking to the media to stop him from doing dumb shit. But he's in the presidency. He's isolated from his base. He's not, in that near daily, if not hourly, contact with them, getting the information that he needs from them. So he's doing stupid shit and he's getting bad data. As you can see over the weekend and on Friday, he was posting inaccurate information that comes from the Ukrainians about. I couldn't tell if it was specifically casualty data or if it was death data, which it's two different things. Like, casualty includes deaths most of the time, and it also includes, hey, I got my finger blown off type deal. You've got wounded and dead thrown in together. So um, it looks like the data he was quoting again comes from the Ukrainians because it is ass backwards. It's blatantly clear at this point that the Ukrainians are taking the heavier casualties than the Russians. So there's that. Now, this has led Medvedev, who is Putin's bulldog, however you want to say it, Medvedev is in the position with Putin that he says it straight up in a certain way and undiplomatic. Like Putin is very good at statecraft and diplomacy. He knows he can't make certain statements because that would freak everybody the hell out. But he knows those statements still need to be said, so he does like the equivalent of information laundering. Of instead of him saying it, he uses a proxy to say it to disseminate the information. Medvedev came out and, in the most Russian way possible, let it be known to the West yet again that there are Russian red lines. You are attempting to cross them. Russia will defend themselves with potential nuclear weapons. Then Lindsey Graham acts like Lindsey Graham, which is to say a neocon twat. Medvedev again points out that Lindsey Graham is a neocon twat in the most Russian way possible. Trump then defends Lindsey because apparently Trump's greatest ally is Lady Lindsey Graham. Trump just makes stupid decisions. The reason why he's backing Lindsey Graham is most likely, okay, because in the Senate, there is on the establishment Republican side, a narrative. There is a narrative floating around that Lindsey Graham can deliver Democrat votes in his home state and in the Senate, which is just a load of crap. Just a load of crap. It's never happened. So Trump thinks, oh, if I back him, I get what I want. How did that work out in your first term, Mr. President? So that's why he's defending Lindsey. Medvedev hits back with another very Russian response. Again, reminding people what is at stake. Trump comes out and it's like, okay, cool. So I've moved nuclear submarines into forward operating positions around Russia. Go fuck yourself. Now, this is plainly to see a cock measuring contest. Like, Trump is not going to actually threaten nuclear war in any real sense, even though he did later come out and say, yeah, we're totally prepared for nuclear holocaust. Fuck it, let's go. We're ready. We're just waiting on you. Come on, cross our red line. We'll go. That was Trump's implication later in the day on Friday. And that's just Trump blustering, all right? Trump is super anti-nuclear war. He just thinks that the way you get people to do things as a world leader is you act like a bully, all right? You need to be that boisterous personality that's a little bit crazy, a little bit unhinged, and just says shit, all right? It doesn't work on the Russians. Like, just look at the standard Russian mentality and compare that to Trump. Like, you're asking people who have grown up in the shadow of the USSR and like the evils that happened there, and and the messaging is coming from a president who is kind of wishy-washy and goes back and forth all the time on everything. Like, bless Trump all you want. Like, God bless him. But, like, the man is all over the place, especially when it comes to, say, tariffs. Like, you can't take what he says the first half dozen times as this is the absolute truth, because he's gonna flip flop. It's probably a negotiating style, but it's not working out. So Trump's out there, torching his credibility with his base, like reckless abandon. Like, there's very few things he could do more of to piss off the peaceniks that are in his base, and there's a lot of them. Like, this isn't some small group of, say, hippies. These are you know um, people who, working class, saw how the war on terror gutted America. All right, and are now super anti-war. They're left, they're right. It doesn't matter. You have a large group of veterans that are super anti-war, and when Trump says stupid shit like this, uh, are fucking pissed because they don't want their kids to go through what they went through. Um, so Trump continues to want to burn his chances at the midterms and lose not only the House but the Senate as well. Um, Hopefully he can pull up a little bit more, but like, people out there saying, "Oh, we're on the verge of nuclear holocaust." Not really, okay? The the Americans aren't going to launch first, and the Russians aren't going to launch first either. Now, I know the Russians have basically a dead man switch. Whether or they claim to have it, whether it's in actual operation, who knows? I wouldn't want to play chicken with that. But the doctrine of mutually assured destruction has, for the most part, kept stupid shit from happening. Because everybody looks at it and it's like, at least in the diplomatic corps, through the back channels, not the public facing channels, have said, okay, the risk is way too high. We actually need to simmer stuff down. But like, this isn't going to work against Putin. Like, Trump's style of negotiating, because one, Putin is really winning the war in Ukraine. There's been multiple breakthroughs in certain places in the last couple of days in the middle of this bullshit. And on top of that, the Ukrainians just raised the age of recruitment from like 50 to 60. That doesn't show that you're winning. Like, the Russians haven't really even begun to tap their manpower pool. Um, I think long before they run into recruitment problems or drafting problems, they will run into, this is politically unviable. But even then, the closer you get to that point, the more of an existential threat it becomes to Russia. So, and to the Russian people, of what's going on. So the likelihood of actually running into manpower problems, like sustained manpower problems, not the, hey, we're gonna bring in the North Korean, was it divisions or whatever, a couple divisions, to shore up our defenses here so that we don't have to do a, in the middle of the holiday season, recruitment, which is just going to murder us in the press and with public opinion. So, um, I don't think that, like, this is obviously escalatory talk, but it's escalatory and it's controlled, because Trump's gonna realize, oh shit, I really can't do this, and like, this is all happening after the fact that Trump's changed his, hey, I want a ceasefire deal in 50 days, or secondary sanctions on India and China, and not just directly on Russia. Um, to now, I want it done in 10 days. I think Trump will blink, because if he starts sanctioning other countries and their purchasing of Russian gas or oil, it's going to drive it. it will most likely drive those prices just high enough. Now, there is an upper ceiling at this time because of deflationary pressures. Like, we are very clearly going into some type of recessionary event. Um, you know, all the smarts peoples is talking about how the economy is not doing great. Like, you can go listen to George Gammon, you can go listen to Stephen Van Meter, you can go listen to Jeff Snyder. They will all give you the it's not looking great. Even the like the jobs data that the right is celebrating, it's not apocalyptic, but it's not the heroic that it is. And people are bitching about um, having their opinion on Trump firing the BLS guy in charge of statistics or whatever, um, because he was revising down. The guy's been revising down for like 2 solid years now. Like, every time there is a new jobs report that comes out, previous months are being revised down, out to the maximum amount that they revise down to. So, like, it's a year plus. So, depending, like, at the beginning of the year, they were still revising down jobs from the beginning of 2024, being like, oh, no, 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 we're like actually a couple 100,000 jobs lower than that. Like, this, whatever you think about the BLS, which they are complete hacks and have been for over a decade. Like, they started in the Obama era trying to pump Obama's numbers, but like, when they're going after their Democrat candidate that they most likely support, and then continue that operation into the Trump era, it looks like, oh yeah, maybe the data is actually it is inaccurate as all hell, but it's not any more political than it was. Because, like, sure, you are having massive gains, or not massive, proportionally massive gains to what was the norm with the native population. So Americans are, you know, have higher, are predominantly getting more jobs. They are getting more. They're getting paid more. But the consequence of that from the people who are pumping up the jobs number is saying is like, uh, look at hours worked. That is down. Typically, when you get a pay increase, you're working the same hours, if not more. Hours worked is always a canary in the coal mine. You get sustained drops. Now, it's typically like over years, which it has been. That is a signal that the economy is not doing well. Um, so, yeah, you've got a lot of shit not in Trump's favor and him doing a lot of dumb shit. I mean, it could be worse. Honestly, it really could. But, like, the fact that Trump is having a hard time just saying, yo, we out, is an issue. I thought he would have dropped Ukraine by now. It like, he's not the dumbest man on earth. He's not the smartest man on earth. He's fairly good at evaluating data. Kind of have to to be a billionaire. Um, so I thought by now he would have realized that, sunk cost fallacy. We got a dip on Ukraine, and the fact that he's gone from this being Biden's war to now his war, and now it's at his feet. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Anyways, that's the video for today. See you tomorrow, or whenever. again, not feeling the greatest. I'm thinking about talking about the trade deal, specifically what the play is from Carney, because at least the conservatives seem to not understand Carney's perspective of why you wouldn't immediately make a trade deal, and don't understand that geopolitics plays a role in this. And it's not just, oh, Carney hates Canadians, he's going to make us all poor, he's going to destroy the economy. And before Carney was in, before the threat of tariffs, Canada's economy was already going down the toilet. And yes, part of that was the Liberals. But when it's, again, globally synchronized, when you have more than one country and you have more than one, say, hemisphere affected in this global downturn, it's kind of more than one party's fault, or even a group of politicians. But that's that's another video. Until then, have a good day.